Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today.
Okay.
Yep. Hi, Holly.
Hi, Tricia. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for being here on New Year's Eve. I think you might be one of the kickoffs in my 2026 season. We have Holly B. Gutwillinger. She's author of North of Broken and Forever Home, a dual POV with a woman and her dog. I can't wait to hear about writing about a dog's POV.
Well, thank you very much. It's super exciting. Now I feel a little extra special being one of the first of 2026. It's going to be an amazing year. There's so much going on in the world, but if we just break it down into little wee chunks, we have to look for some of the good as well. So thanks for having me, Tricia.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Jump in and tell us about your book.
All right. Well, big surprise today. I got my proof in the mail. So that was very exciting. We had a little opening ceremony next door here in the other room. And my book, gosh, a love letter to my dogs. That's how I'm describing it, because I'm launching it on February 14th, 2026. And it started out because Sully, one of my rescues, he just has so many issues, we'll call them, anxieties, fears. It always has. They're both over 10 years old, and I've always tried to fix them like most of us do. And he came trotting over towards me, and his ears were flopping. He's a shepherd mix, and I don't know, I just saw him differently that morning, and I was sitting on the step and he was trotting towards me, and he came in for a snuggle. And as he was coming towards me, I had these lines download to me, and it was in his voice, and it was just like, hey, mama, dog mama, I'm fine. Like, I'm okay. Everything's good. You don't need to fix anything. Just please accept me the way I am. And I kind of stopped, I gave him a cuddle, and then off he was again, because he never stays for more than a few seconds. And that just sparked something. So to make a long story short, it just kept going. And so I just kept writing lines down, and they turned into scenes and then into chapters. And then a friend of mine convinced me. She says, well, why don't you just write the story? So it started out as my story with the dogs. But there was something nagging at me. Like I felt like there was more to this. I wanted to start to get creative. And then I thought I created a whole bunch of poems through his voice. And then that evolved. And I thought, what if I told his story? But then I knew I had to fictionalize it. So by doing that, I removed myself from the story. I know that might sound a little strange, but I did. And I created a whole new character. Now, does she have traits of me? Yes, of course, right? Because we write what we know sometimes. And so, of course, she's similar, but she is very much a different person than I am. Her name is Renly, and she's younger than I am. But Sully and Cash are my two rescue dogs. They are who they are through and through, in life and on the paper. So yeah, it just developed into 72,000 words. And now I'm talking about this debut novel that I've written, and it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I read a little bit about the description, and it sounds like Renly is a little bit lost, maybe looking for some direction. Can you talk about how that story developed a little bit?
Yes. Again, she has many of my traits. And so a younger version of me was always looking, seeking, searching for that thing, the hobby. Name the hobby. I've tried it. I've tried every physical activity out there, yoga, taekwondo, like all of it, jobs. We traveled all over Canada for work. And so I always had to take different jobs. Although I was very fortunate, I was always searching. I don't have a lot of family, always searching. So that definitely lent itself to the character of Renly, because I wanted to put that down on paper, because I know a lot of people are searching and looking for purpose. And I realized a few years ago that it doesn't matter what I do, I just have to do it purposefully. So I gave her that arc. And if I can mention this part, it was really cute. My husband read the book. Just recently, he read it from start to finish. And by the end, we had, a conversation, and he said, so I've really seen this woman in this book start from a place of confusion, chaos, and then she has an arc. I guess I don't want to give too much away. And then I thought, okay, he got it, which is like, okay, done. I managed to put that on paper. So that's who she is. She's just trying to find how she fits into this world. And she happens to do so through the two rescue dogs.
Okay. So do you have two dog point of views then? Okay.
No, actually, Sully is the only one that has a point of view.
Okay.
But he can't speak to humans. He just speaks out, like narrates, I suppose. And Cash is the other rescue dog in the book. He does speak with Sully, but very little. And it's mainly Sully that has the voice.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that's such an interesting take on like dog healing human healing dog, right?
Well, and in giving him a voice, I mean, it's here we go again with that word, anthropomorphization, anthropomorphic. I gave him a voice, and I know that readers will really have to step outside of perhaps their comfort zone in believing, but I feel like there are so many dog, cat, animal enthusiasts, lovers, that I don't think it's going to be too much of a stretch these days, because I have seen a huge shift in how we're treating dogs and cats and animals.
Right. I mean, we have Call of the Wild, right? So, I mean, there's a little bit of history there for people doing that before. And it takes you a minute in Call of the Wild to be like, oh, okay, I'm in the dog's head now. And the dog may not necessarily think like I think the dog should think, right?
Exactly. And really, it is a book. It's a novel. It's fiction.
Right.
And so I am asking the reader to just set aside their everyday beliefs to just maybe lose themselves in a story. It just so happens that it's my dog's story. And I did have to create the rescue mission aspect, but I know there's a lot of truth to that because it happens all the time here.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, it's neat that you got to incorporate sort of those two loves of writing and your passion for rescuing these animals and your dogs.
Yeah. And I was trying, I really had to work hard at not throwing in too many life lessons into the book, with the rescuing, and I do bring up dog culling and just different things like that. So I had to be careful just how much finger pointing, I suppose, and keep it not light. I mean, I did put some truths in there, but nothing that is that will make you turn away.
Right. You want it to be a story, not not a teaching moment, I guess.
I don't want people crying and making the paper wet and then it gets messy.
Well, some people are just criers. You can't help that. Like me, I'm going to cry on almost everything. So.
Again, my husband was sitting there reading me my own afterword and I was crying. So I get it. I'm a crier too.
So how long did it take you to write this book?
This book came out really quick. It came out in 90 days or so, as far as a first draft, that is. So it just spilt out. Like once I got started, it's like it was just channeling through me and I just couldn't stop and it just happened. But that was 3 years ago. So it may have come out quickly, but then the rest of the process took time.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you traditionally publish this or a small press, or did you publish on your own?
This is me, myself, and I. Ramblings from the Little Shed Publishing is my own creation. And so I am self-publishing. And I'm really glad that you asked that question because I have been thinking about this a lot. And I thought, okay, well, should I try this traditional? And from what everybody tells me, it's a process. And I thought, I don't know, at this age, I really want to see this in the world. And I think that the subject matter is relative to what, we're seeing as well. And then I thought, I don't know, I just had this thought at, 3:00 in the morning, probably. that I'm not going to wait for anyone else to choose me. For once in my life, I'm going to choose me. And so that's what I did, and I hope that it, not that I hope that I made the right decision, because I did, but I know there are, people have opinions on traditional versus indie, and that's okay, because primarily I wrote this book for me to understand my dogs. And like I said, it's a love letter to my dogs. So I hope that will come through in the process.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked up your profile a little bit. Ramblings from the Little Shed. Tell me about that and the rest of your author work.
Oh, awesome. So we built a portion onto the garage, which is like my shed. And so that's why I call it Ramblings from the Little Shed. It is lined in wood, and I have a wood stove here. And this is where I ramble on and I write. And it just sort of all came together. And I came up with that name because I do ramble. As you can see, I love to talk. And so it's my cozy space. And then I thought, I could keep this going. And so I created Ramblings from the Little Shed podcast with my son, my adult son, Rogan. And we discover how animals or pets influence a person's creativity.
Oh, interesting.
And I have met so many interesting people in those conversations. And I don't know, I guess it's just who I am now. Like the flannel shirts and the warm cup of tea and the cozy vibe. That's exactly what I'm going for. And it's not put on, it's real. It's got to be cozy.
Well, yeah, definitely. I think that's what we're all looking for. I mean, I love podcasts, and I feel like you are actually connecting with the people that you're sitting in the room with them, right? You're having a cup of coffee or a cup of tea with them, and it's just super fun to just talk and get to know them that way. So that's really neat.
That's so true, Trisha, because I've been listening to your podcast, and now I'm sitting here with you, and we're chatting about our work and that sort of thing, but it just feels like we're just having a conversation. So which is pretty cool, I think, that we can do that across the country, right?
Yeah. And I love technology today. So this is what saved me through 2020. So that's how I started my podcast and why I started my podcast.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, fun. And I saw on Goodreads you have a haiku book, a haiku challenge. Are you a poet as well? I hold poets in very high regard, like I am not worthy. So every time I see a poet, I'm like, oh, I have to pick their brain. How can you be a poet?
Well, and that's, we had a very brief discussion beforehand, and I'm reluctant to call myself a poet, but I guess, I don't know. You can see me how I'm kind of like cringing, right? Because I hold them in high regard. But there was a challenge out there at some point a few years ago, and I knew nothing about haiku, but I thought I'm just going to join this challenge, and I did, and it was 49 poems, and I did one every day. And some of them are very silly, some of them are deeper, but I did it, and I think that was the beginning of seeing myself becoming an author. And it was just in those moments of actually committing to something. So actually finishing that was, I don't know, just an accomplishment for me. And I think the reward for that was they would print it, and they did. And so that's how that ended up there. But really, this book started out as a poem, as 4 lines. And when I turned 50, I wanted to do something for my 2 adult sons to show them that turning 50 was one of the best things that you could go through, because I've had those people in my ear saying, you wait till you're 50, you're going to do this and this is going to happen. And I thought, I'm not going to do that for my sons. I want them to know that for me, 50 was incredible. And when I watched my parents turn 50, I thought, wow, they were at their best. So I did. And I wrote 50 poems, and I printed a little book. It's not on Goodreads, but I printed it and I gave it to my sons as a gift. But it was like from a mother to a son type of work, right? And who I was as a mom and as a wife and a friend, that sort of thing. So, Well, that was a long way to come around and say, yeah, I guess maybe I am a poet. I
If
write
you write
from the heart.
poetry, I'm going to call you a poet because I cannot at all. Like it just,
Okay.
it's probably in my own head more than anything. And if somebody challenged me like that, I would probably sit down and do it. But
there we go.
So don't challenge me because I don't have time right now.
Okay. Let me know when you have some free time and we'll.
Okay. I'm going to come join your little writing group.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And so can you tell me a little bit about that writing group and how you got together and how you challenge and help each other?
Oh my gosh. What an incredible, like I'm sitting in such joy right now because on the other side of this room, this is New Year's Eve and we are just sitting there creating today. I have a big table. I bought a table on Marketplace and it's got chairs all around it. And we've got food and yummy, drinks, coffee, lots of tea. Got the Christmas music going and we're just creating. So to go back to how we started, it was accidental. Most of us are in a writers guild here in the city that I live in, but it's just a small guild. And it gets together once a month and it's a wonderful group of people, but it's a lot of different people who wouldn't necessarily get together at coffee shops or whatnot. And I don't know what it was. It was a Friday night and I said, hey, does anybody want to go write? And it was just a handful of people. And I invited another friend who is a creative. She does art. And so it was very organic. We went to the local coffee shop, sat down. We would do writing sprints. And then that continued the next Friday and so on and so on. And Friday has been our night. So I always knew that I wanted to be part of a group that supports each other, lifts each other up, because there's been too much competition in this world. And I don't want to say outcasted, but I've been in places where it's not supportive. And so I knew that I wanted to create something. And it's not that I created this group, but we are now this collective of eclectic people who have such different talents. Some are authors, some are artists, some are digital creators. And we get together and we create. So they're here. We're just here celebrating, ringing in the new year. Yeah.
Fun. And you're the proof of your new book. So that's very cool that you have that community and you've built that community.
I never thought I would have it. And I was sitting there about an hour ago looking around the table. There's only 5 of us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us. 6 of us. One is not here today. And I just, I got the warm fuzzies. I was just in awe of what I was witnessing, the conversations, and everybody's got their paper out and their pens and a computer. And so pretty incredible. I'm very, very lucky.
Yeah, I'm getting like goosebumps just you talking about it. So that sounds really neat.
Thank you.
Well, Holly, tell us where we can, February 14th, 2026, your book will release. Tell us where we can find you, where we can find your book, the Little Shed on Instagram, all of those things.
Yes. I mean, on all the socials, I'm Ramblings from the Little Shed as for a website. That's my website. I'll have everything listed there as well. I'm on Instagram. Unfortunately, I got kicked out because I did something that I'm not aware of. And so I'm Rambling from the Little Shed without an S. And I will have the book on Amazon. It's there for pre-order through Kindle at this point, but it'll be for sale there. And as I continue to figure out all of the things, it will be available everywhere else.
Fun. And the name of your podcast, it's already started, right?
Yes. So it is called Ramblings, from the Little Shed podcast. And
same title. Okay, great.
It's on all your podcatchers. Yeah.
Fun.
So
and
please check it out. Yeah.
Right. And the name of your book is North of Broken and Furever, Furever, home.
Yes.
So with Rinley, the main character, and Sully, who is the dog character.
Yes.
Super, super fun. Thank you for being here. And I hope that when you release another book, you will contact me again and can be on the show again.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for just having a conversation and just being here with me. That's great.
Of course. Great way to congratulations.
New Year's Eve. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Congratulations and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.